And a good morning to you. Welcome to hour number two of the Art Lewis Show. Nice to have you with us. And today we're going to talk about screen time and youngsters and more because we have with us a board certified family physician who also is a care management person, a care management physician at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. We say good morning to Dr. Angela Sebright. Dr. Sebright, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Let's. I noticed you wanted to talk about screen time, and the thing about limiting screen time in this day and age. How do you do that?
That's such an important question. It's so difficult. I have 3 kids myself, and parents, it's a tall task. But we know that we have to do this. Screens aren't going away. We're living in this tech environment. These kids are growing up in this world. They're going to have technology as they grow up into adults with their job. It's there in school. But we know that the time that a child spends on a screen is time that they're not engaging in other essential activities that are beneficial for their physical and cognitive development. And so it doesn't mean that all screen time is bad. It's really about the quality of the screen time. Some screen time can help kids learn and stay connected. But again, it's summertime and there's a lot of empty hours or more flexibility in the day. And kids get bored. How often do we hear, I'm bored, I'm bored. So it's really easy to fill those hours with screens. And we know medically that excessive screen time is associated with higher risks of obesity, depression, anxiety, sleep disruption. In younger children, excess screen time and not enough playtime can really limit their motor skills and curiosity. So again, we just really want to encourage screen-free time. And a great substitute for screens is movement, physical activity, and family interaction. So that's really the goal, is to try to, rather than say, no more screens, get off your screens, try to fill that time with an activity that's engaging and that is a family activity.
Yet, in reality, and we have to live in the real world, kids go to school. How much time do they spend on the screen? They come home. How much time do they spend on the screen? They're with their friends. Put 2 of them on a couch and they'll use their thumbs to communicate rather than talk. Are we at
Right.
a point where we are so dependent on screens that, it's hard to pull them away anymore?
It can be, and it's really age dependent too. So we see as the kids get older, they're in middle school, high school, those screens become more integrated in their lives, not only in school, but also their social lives. It's how they connect. It's how they interact with their peers. But again, we don't want it to substitute for that beneficial face-to-face interaction, for physical activity, for sleep. We find that kids are tempted to be on their devices, and so they're going to stay up later on devices, and they're not getting that important sleep. So there's definitely a ripple effect, and it's really age dependent as well. With younger kids, it's easier to, take the screens away and set limits. With older children, we really have to teach them about balance. And a great way to teach is by modeling that balance yourself as adults. I think many adults are tied into technology a little bit too much as well. And so we really need to model that for our kids because they're always watching. And if you're an adult who's on the screen all day, it's going to be hard to get your children off of a screen.
Well, it's not only that adults are tied in too, but I think some adults look at that screen as a babysitter. And the reason I say that, you go into a restaurant where there's a family of maybe a mother, father, and 2 kids. Both the kids have out their screens. I don't care whether they're 3 years old or 10 years old, and the parents are doing their own thing. They look at that screen as, gee, look how quiet Johnny is. It's taking care of it. I don't have to worry about it. And that's too bad because I think we're losing sight of what parenthood should be, and I don't know. To me, they abdicate their responsibility.
And it really goes back to is, it's kids do need to be bored. They don't need constant stimulation. We know that creativity is so important, and it's really hard to be creative when you're just fed content online constantly. That constant stimulation, that's not good for them either.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the secondary things. For example, all that screen time, how does that impact your eyes, particularly growing up?
Oh yeah, it can definitely too much time on a screen, especially when they're holding screens close to their face. So it's different than when you're watching TV in a living room, right? You're sitting on a couch, the television is so many feet away. But when you have a handheld device, their face is literally inches from the screen. And so that can cause eye strain. It can precipitate headaches from too much screen time. So we see children who are having more headaches. And so that's something to keep in mind is that they're spending too much time on the screen. The blue light from the screen is also very activating. So what do kids do at bedtime? If they're sitting in a dark room, you've got that blue light right in your eyes. And that's actually sending a signal to the brain to wake up. So if you turn the screen off and expect a child to fall asleep, that's really going to interrupt that circadian rhythm. And so we really advise parents to minimize screen use in those hour or two before bedtime so it doesn't interrupt that important sleep cycle.
So let me ask if there's a positive in all this. Brain stimulation, does it contribute?
Well, yeah, so children can learn. There are some quality screen programs that children can learn from. But again, you really want to avoid some of the fast-paced, the short reels that kids watch. Those trigger the dopamine in the brain. That's the reward center, and it creates a cycle where they just want to watch more of that.
So
and again,
stay away from TikToks is what you're saying.
Essentially, yes. I mean, it's very especially in younger children. So again, not all screen time is the same. There are some educational programs that kids utilize, and it is on a screen, and that can be very helpful. But again, it's all about balance. It's about making sure that they're not spending excessive amounts of time on the screen.
Which is a good trick. It just seems to me that in this day and age, every one of them gets a cell phone when they're very, very young. They get all kinds of iPads and the like, tablets, computers. They're surrounded by it. And even a lot of the things they play with today are computer controlled and have screens. And it just seems like it is becoming more and more prevalent in our life every day. And now we have AI to go with it.
Yes.
I wonder where it's all going to lead. I mean, I understand what you're saying about limiting it, and I agree. But I just have this fear that we're reaching a point of no return in some ways.
In some ways, yeah. So I think, too, the other important thing is to protect our time. And so spending that time on screens, have some protected time for the family. Everyone's so busy, and, family meals, we may not have time every day to sit down as a family and have a family dinner. And that's okay. People lead busy lives, but I think trying to carve out, it may not be every day, but where can we carve out time for the family and time for those connections? Because what we don't want is to be connecting online, but disconnecting with the people who are in our family. And so that's what's really important is carving out that time. Maybe it's a dinner. Maybe it's a family walk. Maybe it's a weekend activity where everybody is unplugged and connecting.
I'm old enough, not very old, I'm 83. I'm old enough to remember growing up that at 6 o'clock at night, I had one requirement only, and that was I needed to sit at the dinner table with my parents, talk about the day, talk to my parents, eat our food, and I couldn't leave the table till they were done. Don't see that much anymore, do you?
We don't, unfortunately. And so, again, we need to, it's not, maybe go back a little bit to basics. And it's not about being perfect, may not happen every day, but it's just about consistency. So even if we can get, 3 or 4 device-free evenings each week, or activities where we're connecting as a family, I would say that's a success, is to really, those are what children are going to remember. Just like you said, you still remember those family dinners.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what kids are going to remember. They're going to remember those times where they were able to connect with their family, not the time that they were sitting on a screen.
So let me ask you this in conclusion. As a family physician, what are the health concerns, the physical health concerns of too much time on the screens?
The biggest one is that it is replacing other healthy activities. So when kids are on a screen, they're going to potentially stay up later because that screen is much more engaging than going to bed. So it can interrupt their sleep. If it's too stimulating, they may not sleep well because they were overstimulated on a screen right before bedtime. So sleep disruption is a big one. Mental health, especially with social media and adolescents and teens, we're seeing increased anxiety, more depressive symptoms, lower self-esteem, because that social media is all about comparison. And sometimes children, they may feel more connected on social media, but they're really not connecting with their peers in real life. So they're actually lonelier.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the physical health effects. Being on a screen, you're not outside exercising, so we see weight gain, maybe poor posture from looking down at the screens. If they're not exercising, less cardiovascular fitness. Again, that screen time is replacing potential physical activity and other healthy habits. And then, of course, attention and executive function. So again, those short reels, those dopamine hits, that highly stimulating content can make it harder for children to tolerate boredom and sustain attention.
So if parents are interested, where can they go for more information? Is there a website?
For more, we have more information on ahealthiermichigan.org.
Go to the screen. I knew that was coming.
Of course.
Well, Dr. Sebright, thank you much for spending a little time with us this morning and talking about it. Hope to chat with
Thanks
you
for
again.
having me.
You bet.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
That is Dr. Angela Sebright. She is a board-certified family physician and also a care management physician for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. We will have open phones for the remainder of the hour, 989-752-6111, the number to call.
It could be the best years of
All right, we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show. And on this Wednesday morning, open phones for the remainder of the hour. 989-752-6111. 'Tis the number to call, and we'll get you answered as quickly as we can. Don't see anybody in there, so I'll just do this. And I believe this is Jean. Is that right?
Yes, Jean in Bay City.
Hello, Jean. Good morning. You're on.
Oh, I'm on already.
You're on already.
Years ago, I read a book about being on all these new devices. And if I remember right, it said the brain needs a certain amount of time every day to do nothing, just to be blank, so it can daydream and think about what happened in the past few days,
Yep.
and then think about what it wants to do in the next couple days and so on. And if the brain doesn't get that downtime, then that's what causes depression and anxiety.
So first of all, I adhere to that, and I agree. What I've found for me, the way I do that, I'm a hobbyist. So I build
Right.
ships and things of that nature.
And
That time that I do that, I have nothing else on my mind. Nothing. It's an escape.
And that is what's really healthy. Nowadays, the kids, they're on their phone until bedtime, Well, and then I've heard people say, if these devices are doing all your thinking for you and solving all your problems, and your brain doesn't have to figure out things for itself anymore, your brain's going to turn to mush.
So what do you think is going to happen with AI?
Yeah, AI is so wonderful, but in the wrong hands, it's so dangerous. So dangerous.
Well, and it's doing exactly what you're talking about. It's taking away your ability to think for yourself. All you got to do is go to your screen, type it in, and there you go, or even voice it. It's just I worry about the future and all this electronics. I really do.
I think about the Amish kids. Of course, they don't have electricity, so they don't have any of these things. And I think in the future, they're going to be the smart kids that are going to be figuring out everything because they have to use their brain constantly. They don't have these other things doing their thinking for them. They might end up being the smartest people in the country.
Well,
but that's just a thought that went through my head.
Yep.
Now,
I understand.
Can I talk about politics a minute?
Real quick. Go ahead.
Okay. In the beginning of these crypto coin things, which I don't understand, but Trump was all against it. Then he found out his sons were invested in it, and he did a complete flip around, and crypto was the greatest thing in the world. Now, he has made, I forgot, but yesterday they were talking about
anywhere
how
from
much,
$1 to $2 billion, and somewhere in between there.
I can't think of the name of that lady that had the little cooking shows and everything. She got some inside information on stocks and used it, and she ended up going to prison for a couple of years for that. And I'm thinking, Trump has all this inside information, and he talks to his sons,
but his sons
constantly, and I just wonder how. What's good for the average person?
Well,
can he be getting away with all of that?
Well, technically, he doesn't control it. Technically, it's in a trust, and his sons did the investing. So, yeah, you can make the case, but it never will. I mean, you're never going to hear about that. So, got to run, Gene.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll take a break, come back, and we'll get to another caller in just a couple of moments.
As America celebrates 250...
All right, we're back with you. Now we'll get back to our phones, and in Saginaw, we find Nancy this morning. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. I will start with this. I hope that I'm not reiterating something that somebody else has already said this morning. I didn't catch all of the programs, so that's why I'm saying that. I would encourage you, the new Toy Story 5 is out, and it addresses this issue that we're talking about this morning. It's a great movie. I saw it with my grandchildren, and I was...
Let me ask, let me enter for a second.
Uh-huh.
Which issue The screen time, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And just the whole device issue.
No kidding.
It's a very good movie. It was really cute. I enjoyed it very much. But the other issue that I have that I worry about is because a lot of our young people are on the devices so much that they have very little, if any, social skills. And are there going to be enough jobs in cubicles in the future to have them even get a job, because they're not going to be able to talk to people face to face, look them in the eye, carry on a conversation, and so forth.
I've said that for years. I've said that till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah, and that's another big concern, too. So anyway, I just thought I'd pass that along. If you have a chance, go to Thrifty Tuesday or whatever it's called and see Toy Story 5. So.
Toy Story 5. All right. I mean, I have to admit, till you just said it, not what I would thought of as being an educational tool on screen time.
Well, and I may have looked at it a little bit differently. I'm a retired teacher, still do work with the kids with tutoring and some subbing, but I thought in a way this handled it very well. And I like I said, if you have a chance, it's worth seeing, I think.
Let me pick your brain for a minute, Nancy, as a teacher,
Oh, dear.
as a former teacher. No. This is all good. There's a number of things in education that have always kind of bugged me a little bit. We in Michigan spend a lot of money on education, and we ranked 44th in third grade reading. I asked the superintendent this yesterday, where was the disconnect? We have great teachers. We have wonderful school systems, but we're not getting the results. Where's the disconnect?
And he said, or did you want me to say what I think?
I want you to say.
Okay. I think a lot of it is, how do I want to say this? The home environment, we have so many parents that years and years ago, like when I was growing up, my mom worked outside the home for just a short time, and whatever she did it part-time. When we were in school, she was always home. She would be at the kitchen table helping us or watching over us if we were doing homework or whatever. And I think now the kids are led to be more independent because both parents, if there are two parents in that household, are out of that space. And so the kids are left alone on their devices and maybe don't get that homework done or don't do what they're supposed to be doing, and they don't have that encouragement at home.
You and the superintendent are on agreement.
Good. Well, in my second career, then we'll see what I do. But anyway, I truly believe that it is. I don't want to call it. A lot of people call it a breakdown. I don't want to use that word to suggest that parents and family units are like that. But I truly believe that our kids are forced to be more independent at an earlier age than what we used to be. So, anyway. Well, nice to talk with you.
Same here, and thanks for spending a little time with me. I appreciate it.
Sure. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That was Nancy in Saginaw. We thank her much for calling and spending time. 989-752-6111. Let me talk about Krishak's House Family Restaurant. Best place to go for your authentic home-cooked foods with a European flair and at reasonable prices. Now's the time to think about getting together with friends or family for lunch or dinner. Maybe events coming up like graduations, confirmations, weddings, showers, anniversaries. Krishak's has an economical way for you to supply the food. You can order what you want in Polish and American foods and just pick it up at the restaurant ready to go. Or have your celebration right there at the restaurant. Don't forget, at a moment's notice, Krishak's can help. Call 989-894-5531, Krishak's House Family Restaurant, corner of Cass and Michigan, on Bay City's south side. Krishak's, great place, great people. And they contribute a lot to the community, too, which is another good, positive thing. All right, we'll take a break. Lines open for you, 989-752-6111.
Gotta go.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. Open phones for the remainder of the hour, 989-752-6111. I had to look twice when I saw this headline this morning. I didn't realize, I guess I must have missed the initial news stories back when. A non-citizen voting proposal stalls in L.A. The Los Angeles City Council voted to delay the measure for further review. They got to be kidding. No, unfortunately, they're not in Los Angeles. This proposal would have allowed non-citizens to vote in city and school board elections. Foot in the door, right? Well, this will not appear on the Los Angeles ballot until at least 2028, after the city council unanimously voted to delay it. You got to be kidding me. Why would they even do it? I don't know. Sometimes some of the things that happen around the country, and particularly in California, you just shake your head. You just shake your head. So, I don't know. The fact that they even had it thinking about doing it, I mean, just the thought of it. So, anyhow, let's go up to West Branch, and we will talk to Michael in West Branch. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great. I have to agree with Justice Alito that the Supreme Court made an egregious mistake yesterday. And also with what Thomas said, that I agree with what he said. And I'm by no means a constitutional lawyer or scholar. But he said basically you can make the argument that in the amendment they said that, everyone who's born here becomes a citizen. However, they put the provision in that aside from diplomats, because they need to be traveling here. And now we've got 30,000 people travel here at birth tourism every year.
Yeah, I did.
To become
that exception has always been there too. It really is different. Well, and I understood the reason for it.
Yeah,
was that the diplomats don't come here as invited workers or anything else. They're diplomats. Right. They carry diplomatic immunity, and technically their consulates are their own territory. Yep. So I understood. Well,
they're not coming here because of love of country,
right?
And that's the problem, is the lack of assimilation right now with people coming into the country.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a big problem down the line. And I would also make the argument that maybe the Democrats that's the evil thought in their plan when Biden let in 15 million people or whatever the figure is.
I'm sure of that.
In the last 4 years.
I'm sure of
that.
That
they figure, hey, we'll indoctrinate our kids. We'll have our kids here. We'll indoctrinate them to become Democrats. They have their voting base.
If you need any proof of that, the story I just referenced from California, that the Los Angeles City Council has tabled a non-citizen voting proposal. They had a proposal on the table to allow non-citizens to vote on city and school board. Foot in the door.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Isn't that happening in New York already, though?
Not that I'm aware of. It could be, but not that I'm aware of.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Right now, a lot of things happening in my home city don't surprise me.
But yeah, I think it's a mistake. And if you have the provision in there for diplomats, again, they're thinking they're going to be traveling here. Well, now people, travel all over the world.
Well, what's going to be interesting, if they can get their act together, to see if Congress can come up with a law that modifies it without going against the Constitution. And I don't know if they can, to tell you the truth.
Not in this political environment, I don't think so.
Well, certainly
not. 60 votes in the Senate.
Certainly not in this political environment. But the other side of it, and I said this morning, and I have to point this out. I've heard a lot of conservative commentators calling Amy Coney Barrett lots of names and stuff like that. I have to admit, whether I agree or disagree, I am in favor of judges who are independent of their political party. I want judges who rule on the Constitution,
right,
and not what their party wants.
And I disagree with how judges are characterized when they describe them from the basic media, not necessarily what they call them conservative or liberal.
Yeah.
Why don't you just basically say, they're, a textualist or originalist or constitutionalist versus people who are more progressive?
Well, they've said that about her.
I think it's a living, breathing document, which,
They've said that about her, that she's a textualist.
Yeah.
And, I just...
Same thing with Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh, Roberts... I don't
know about Roberts.
I like the fact that there is independence on the court. Do I agree with all their decisions? No. Not at all.
I think it's the conservative judges that generally move from what you'd consider liberal or conservative. It's like you got the three justices that always it's like they're extremely liberal, and they don't really look at Ketanji Brown. She's voted against things that are basic Second Amendment. It's like, I'm
exactly.
not a lawyer, but it's black and white.
Well, and this is why I say I prefer judges who don't do that. Unfortunately, for some of us, most of us have come from the right side of the aisle.
They seem to go back and forth.
They seem to go back and forth, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
interesting.
Yep.
Well, do you think we'll get another justice retiring during Trump's term, or leaving, or
I don't know if it happens. Maybe next year.
Maybe Thomas will retire.
And all of it is going to depend on, I think, what happens in the elections in November.
Midterm. Yeah.
Yeah, because that'll influence who gets approved and who doesn't get approved. So it's possible. It's possible, but if NPR had to retract their misinformation about Alito retiring.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I would have thought if I heard retirement, it would come from Thomas.
Yeah.
But
I certainly I'm not in favor of packing the court. That's ridiculous, which is what the Democrats have talked about.
Democrats would love to be able to get 15 people on the court and all of them Democrats, So.
Exactly.
All right.
Good to talk with you, Art. Have a great day.
Same here. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. That'll do it for calls. We thank you for participating. But as I've said, and I will stick to this, it is the way I believe. And I have to tell you, the reason is it's the way my father taught me to believe. He was a criminal tax lawyer and a CPA. Brilliant man. And was admitted to practice before the Supreme Court. And he drilled in me when I was in my formidable years that judges should not judge on their party affiliation. He didn't like the fact that they got elected that way. And he said they should judge the law in front of them in terms of the Supreme Court as to how it relates to the Constitution and nothing else. That is their test. Not what's happening in Europe, which we've heard once in a while. Not what popular public opinion is, because even public opinion can stifle someone's rights as it relates to the Constitution. He was a constitutionalist in every way and every shape. And in his world, the justices on the Supreme Court were there to measure whatever case comes before them against the Constitution and nothing more. Anyhow, with that said and done, we're going to take our last break. Come back, tell you what's ahead on Focus.
Got a home repair problem? Don't get
Days at 3 on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, that wraps up another edition of the Art Lewis Show. We'll be back tomorrow with lots more. Thank you for being with us. Stick around now. ABC brings us up to date on the world and the nation with ABC News. We'll have the local report for you. Then we'll be back with Focus to look at Rocket Grab Plus.
Broadcasting from the